project, I chose to explore the art of coaching through both CrossFit and volleyball. I chose this project because both of these activities have been a very big part of my life over the last couple of years, and I really wanted to go from more of a participant role to more of a leadership role in these things that I was already doing and brought me so much joy. So I started my project last July, actually in this very gym where you all are sitting right now. And I was planning and coaching out 4 weeks of middle school volleyball camps. So my goal with these camps was to help everybody involved really prepare for the fall season. And each week I created a plan. So every single day we would work on a different movement. We would work on passing or setting or hitting, all that kind of thing. We would start out in the morning by doing very basic kind of movement standards, going over what it would look like, and then we would do exercises and workouts related to those movements before eventually moving on to applying them in a more official play setting. And on Fridays, we would put everything together and kind of look over everything we learned throughout the week and scrimmage and just have a good time together. So I quickly realized that middle school is a very big range. I was working with incoming 6th through 8th graders, and everybody that I was working with had a wide variety of skill as well as a wide variety of enthusiasm that they were bringing. So it was very challenging to find activities that worked for everybody and that challenged everybody at the same time. And all of the plans that I had made leading up to the camps, I had these very clear visions, and they didn't quite play out in the way that I had been hoping. Luckily, I had the incredible support of both Coach Lynn and Coach Justice, who really helped me through kind of figuring out how to work through these challenges. We ended up splitting up the group a lot, so sometimes this would mean that we had a more advanced group and a more beginning group, or it would mean that one group was working on one element of the game while the other group was working on another, so that people didn't get super burned out throughout the day. And I also realized very quickly on that I needed a lot more silly games and just little activities, because as much as I really wanted everybody to work on their skill and their technical abilities, volleyball is such a team sport that it's really important that you have a good relationship with the people you're going to be playing with, and that you know how to kind of let go of your nerves and everything while still maintaining your confidence and really being able to play with one another. So one of the biggest struggles that I had was learning how to motivate people and also just how to get everybody to participate. A lot of times I would ask a question and I would get a lot of blank stares back at me, which I know many of my teachers have experienced from my class, but it was very nerve-wracking, especially as somebody who was new to the coaching position. I would wonder, did I ask the question wrong, or did I just totally fumble and I didn't even ask what I'd been meaning to ask? And I realized that just like I was nervous, everybody I was coaching was nervous too. Middle school is a very nervous time. So we just needed to kind of work together and encourage each other and find ways to break down the questions a little bit farther so that they were more easy to tackle. And before the camps had even started, I had talked to Coach Justice about the idea that the coach's energy is really equivalent to the energy of the team. So the idea that the days when I brought, all my enthusiasm, but also all of my focus, that would really be reflected in the team around me. And I saw this was true so early on. It was so cool to kind of realize how much impact I had, but also it's a big responsibility. You have to really settle yourself in the morning before you go in and really prepare for what you're about to do. And as I went through the camps, I realized what I now think of as my biggest and most important role as a coach. And while I was helping everybody gain skills and confidence, I was also relating with them in a really special way, because I'm only a senior in high school and I was a middle schooler just a few short years ago. So I felt like I really got to have this special connection with everybody who I was teaching, because we could really relate to each other in a way that was very individual to me and to them, and I just felt very grateful to have that connection with everybody. So once the camps had ended, it was time for me to move on to the second half of my project, which was getting my CrossFit Level 1 certificate. This was a very dramatic turnaround for me from volleyball, because where I'd been really learning how to connect with people and have these one-on-one relationships, I was now studying out of a book and learning about the very intricate systems of the body, and it was very technical and very academic. And so I studied and studied and studied, and then in late September of this year, I drove to Medford, where I took the 2-day course to get my certificate. This was like truly one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. I really didn't know what to expect going in, and I was a lot younger than all of the other people there. And so it was really cool to just see all of these people coming from such different places joined together by this thing. And this class included 2 days of lectures and movement demonstrations, and we would kind of go back between the two, and then at the end of the day we would do a workout together, and we would coach each other on form and kind of just watch to see how other people were moving. And at the end of the weekend, we took the test, and I passed, thank goodness. I was real nervous there for a second because it was like half my project, and it was so much harder than I thought it was going to be. But I got my CrossFit coaching certificate, and then it was time to come back to Portland and apply everything that I had learned here in my hometown. So I've been going to the same CrossFit gym since I was in 7th grade, and unlike the volleyball camps where everybody I had been coaching was somewhat younger than me, I am actually the youngest member of our gym. And so I was teaching people who were entirely older than me, and a lot of whom have been doing CrossFit for significantly longer than me, and who are more experienced and have more technical knowledge. And so it was a little nerve-wracking going in, but I was lucky to have the support of my amazing mentor, Mike Monji, as well as all of the other coaches at our gym who were all so open to sharing their experiences and their techniques and all that kind of thing with me. And at first I would shadow the classes, so I would kind of stand on the sideline and watch the flow of the class and watch, how long does it take to do a warm-up and how long should you take for these different elements. And then I slowly kind of picked up parts of the class, so I would coach the warm-up and then the main coach would take over for the workout. And eventually I was able to coach the whole class. I've been coaching Saturday mornings for a little while now, and it's been a really lovely experience. One of the biggest struggles I faced was really learning how to carry myself with confidence. And like I said earlier, a lot of these people know a lot already, and I'm somebody who's significantly younger, and I'm going in and trying to tell them what to do. And while it was really scary, I realized that, I'm the coach in that moment, and I really have to work on being direct and working on my coaching voice, as everybody's called it. My gym is like a big group of hecklers, so there was a lot of let's see how hard we can make this for Naiya. But it all kind of worked out, and I have found it within myself to shout loudly at everybody, and I've been working on it. So the other thing I've really been working on is finding what kind of coaching works best for different people, and everybody takes feedback in very different ways. Some people, want you to pull them aside after the workout or tell them right in the moment, or some people I've been told, yell at me whenever you need to, which also I'm a little nervous about, but I'm getting there. And that one-on-one kind of specialization to learning how to coach people has really made me realize that this is an ongoing process, and the more people I get to coach, the better of a coach I will be, and the better of a coach I will be, then the more people I'll be able to coach. So it's kind of just this cool loop of things that keeps going and going. So this project has taught me so much about myself. I feel like I've really learned how to set aside my doubts and be confident and clear when giving instructions, and it's also really taught me to kind of focus on one thing at a time. So, let's hone in on this one specific piece of form or this one specific movement or whatever it may be, and once we've worked on that, once we've perfected that, whatever standard we're going for, then we can move on and look at the big picture. And this is a mindset that I really want to continue as I go out into the world. I think that a lot of times, many of us get very overwhelmed because we try to look at the big picture at once, and I think finding that one specific thing and then broadening your view after that is so, so important. And I really hope that I can continue coaching in some regard in the next couple of years. I've just loved this experience so much, so whatever role coaching can take in my life in the future, I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I know that I will never stop improving and just even thinking about all of the different things that I've learned over this last year. So I want to thank, honestly, so many people for helping me through this project. I want to thank both Coach Lynn and Coach Justice for helping me with the summer camps. They were so amazing. We didn't really know what we were doing, and then I was like, I think I have a vision. And they were so supportive, and they really let me kind of like play out what I wanted to do, and we really worked together to just make it as, you know, special as it could for all the people involved. I want to thank my dad for introducing me to CrossFit in the very first place. It's changed who I am as a person so much, and I think part of the reason that I can be up here, like publicly speaking, is really because of the sport that I found. I want to thank my mentor, Mike Monji, for letting me just tag along after him all the time. He was truly like this treasure trove of information that I'd never quite realized he had, and it was so cool to learn from his expertise and just all of his experience in coaching. And lastly, I want to thank anybody who I coached throughout this process. You guys, I don't know if there's anybody here tonight, but like everybody who I coached, they were really the stars of my show. And I just, no matter how little or big of a connection we got to make or how much time we spent together, know that that was really like what I did this project for. So thank you all. If anybody has any questions, I know everybody wants to go home, but yeah. Oh my gosh, the best question. So CrossFit is basically, we're training for, like, to be ready for any circumstance. So the idea is that you're physically prepared for whatever life may throw at you. In the gym, that looks like we're doing kind of a crossover of all the different kinds of training. So we do like cardio training and weightlifting and more gymnastics movements like push-ups and pull-ups and that kind of thing. And every day is different, so we're kind of having a different stimulus every single day and just like preparing for whatever may come in the future. Polly?
Well, I know that you're also like you play volleyball and ball, and like, do you think that even coaches like change the way you are like a teammate?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was definitely like you just go through the game and you play, and then when you have this coaching position, you're kind of on the outside and you're like watching the dynamics all the time. And those are very specific to whichever team you're playing with. So like the dynamics I had with my team weren't exactly the same, but it was definitely very cool to kind of like have that other perspective and come in. And also, like, I watched so many instructional videos on so many forums. I felt like whether or not I was doing it correctly, I definitely knew what it was supposed to look like now. Mr. Ayers?
How many days a week do you go to the gym?
Right now, not super consistently. When I'm not having, you know, this crazy end of year senior thing, I like to go like 3 to 4 times a week. Definitely when I have this nice end of the year off, I will, or you know, no homework time, I'll be going more than that. But yeah, at the moment, it's not very many days a week. Yeah.
Has your experience expanded your the way that you view your teachers in your life, like what it means to be a teacher, that maybe bigger than you thought it was before?
Yes, I think in both like big ways and small ways, I realized after, I actually wrote one of my college essays on this, which is crazy, but after the camp, I feel like I'm a much more active listener because I was just so scared that nobody was listening to me, like the whole time I was coaching, I couldn't tell. And so I really I definitely nod more aggressively and assertively than I used to, just trying to give that like active participation back to people more than I had thought about it in the past.